Hey guys, we'll just wait a couple of minutes. Hi there. So there's a lot of people obviously looking for answers. They're at Parliament, they're in Canberra, and they're basically unaware of what's actually happened by this occupier, and it is a foreign occupier. You're basically taking the Red Ensign and you're taking it basically into a war situation under Hague 4 War on Land. It's a very dangerous situation for people that's actually citizens on the ship and wards of state to be there. This is a critical time. It gives them the right to push back against their citizens and wards of state because you flying that flag is an act of war. The reason is because you're not acting peacefully. Although you think you're acting peacefully, what you're actually doing is you're being belligerent in the rules of war, Hague 4 War on Land. So the people in Canberra right now that's actually all raised these red ensigns don't actually know, and I know this for a fact because I consecrated the red ensign at Melbourne Shrine. The people that have the red ensigns and waving them don't actually realise they're standing under the Bible and under that red ensign. So the problem that we've got is that these occupiers will bring out the right of their Defence Act in 2020, the bill that was pushed through, and use this as basically a chance and an opportunity to push back against the people. Now, it doesn't matter what your perception is about Rod Culleton. Rod Culleton knows fine well what he's doing here. He's like the pie-eyed piper of Hamelin, leading all these people into this situation, a very, very dangerous situation it is. And there's not going to be any remedy, in fact, far from it. This is going to get to a critical situation where I'm pretty sure it's actually going to get dangerous for people that's actually there. I'm very concerned. Stephen's going to bring out a video shortly, Stephen Spires. We've actually been monitoring this situation, and basically the occupiers looking at this sea of red flags, and they're obviously getting very, very edgy with the fact there's so many of them. But again, the problem is the people that are waving them don't really comprehend why they're waving them. Rod Culleton actually took this information and bastardised it and plagiarised it from Stephen Spires without actually acknowledging the correct rule, the line of authority in which to address with that flag. So if you've got that flag, the proper 3-2 land war flag, it should not be in anywhere near that Parliament, and it is considered by the occupier an act of war because they laid a stone there. So you're in occupied territory with our flag. And it's not a good place to be, I can assure you that. So this is just a short live, basically, take of it what you will, but the consequences of this, I've been told by a couple of people that's actually up there, and I've told them to get out. The consequences of this, it gives them the excuse that they've been looking for. And as I say, Culleton, everybody thinks that Culleton is a saviour. Everybody's thinking that basically these people are there, the Craig Kellys, and it's sad really because I wish I could get a message. I tried to get a message to Graham Hood, and Graham Hood comes for a good place. He comes for the Bible. The problem with Graham is he's now regurgitating the information for Rod Culleton, and Rod Culleton was told before the COVID happened and everything, he went to the UK, used a lot of people's donations to go to the UK, and the UK basically told them there was nothing that they could do. And that's because you're under the rules of war. You're in occupied territory, whether you believe it or not. The real Australia Day is the last Friday in July. What you celebrate is Australia Day, and Australia Day is Occupation Day, when the Great White Fleet arrived in Sydney Harbour and basically occupied you and laid a monopoly board across your lands and started carving up to the creditors under the rules of usufruct. the rules of usufruct basically means that they've got the ability under usury to sell all your mineral wealth and push everything out and basically buy everything in which case is why your basically your car manufacturer and everything like that is now gone. They took away your money, your silver, they gave you promissory notes, and basically what's happened is they've made you all wards of state with this Citizenship Act, and you've moved away from your de jure land, and you've went into an Admiralty vessel in doing so being a citizen on their ship in Admiralty waters with your blue flag. But remember, those rules are there in place. When I say the blue flag, and I tell you about the red ensign, what I mean there is, you're going into occupied territory, waving a flag, you have no idea of the consequences, you have no idea of how to protect yourself under that flag, and you have no idea how to the consequences that can come after that. As I say, they put this bill through of defence in 2020. They're no stupid, these people. In 2015, they brought out the Biosecurity Act. In 2017, they ring-fenced Parliament. In 2018, they militarised the police. If you're not aware of this situation, you've been led into war here by people that are actually doing this. They're shells. That's all I can say to you. We've already outed these people. We've already outed Culleton. We told Culleton about 6 years ago that the Great Australian Seal was removed from your courts. And why all of a sudden has he grabbed the red ensign now? You've got to ask yourself why he's got the red ensign. You're heading into a war situation here, and you don't have the shoes for it, people. I can honestly tell you that. I've actually, again, I was part of a group that we consecrated this flag peacefully, respectfully, and the occupier recognised us in Melbourne Shrine. And it was through the Bible, it was through the chaplain we had there, and we had a flag of peace with us. What you're doing right now is you're putting that flag into a situation of war. And unfortunately, it's going to end badly. I can feel it. Now, if I'm wrong, I'll be proved wrong. But I just feel that, there's something very, very sinister afoot. And we can see this, the way they're acting, the way they're actually goading the crowd. So, also the truck driver that was caught with this firearm, he had the red ensign strapped across his cab. It could have been a plant from the start. You've got to remember that Graham Hood as well, he's a good guy, but he's woken up, but he's woken into this second level of deception, I call it. And unfortunately, again, I'm going to repeat this, he's regurgitating everything from Culleton and what he's been told. And I have addressed this, I have sent him so much information, and yet I know he's probably overwhelmed. I know that a lot of people probably message him. But the sad fact is, unless he doesn't understand that he's actually occupied, unless he doesn't realise this, he's under Hague 4 war on land, he's put himself and the people in a very, very dangerous position. So I just want to make this short video because I'm really, really concerned that the association with this flag, you're going to buy it. Basically in the future, if this thing kicks off and they bring in this 2020 defence policy, there's no going back from this. It's anybody with an ensign are then going to be called some right-wing terrorist, even though it was the flag that was flown proudly by your Anzac, your forefathers. It was the flag that opened Parliament. It was actually the flag that your Anzac sacrificed under. And actually, they recoloured that flag with their dead and their wounded, the blood from their dead and their wounded. So, it's up to you guys. You can take this with a pinch of salt, or you can take it very seriously. But if you know somebody in Canberra right now, they're in a very, very dangerous situation. And if this kicks off, what it could actually mean is this 2020 defence bill coming in, and there's no way back from this. We asked you, years ago to come and gather at the shrine peacefully. And when people were actually protesting, the occupier treats that as the citizens in the wards of state are basically rattling their chains. To stand under that flag is to stand peacefully and get recognised by the occupier under the same Hague 4 war on land and rules of Hague 4. If you're not doing that, it's a two-sided coin. So, they have to adhere by the rules, and so do you have to adhere by the rules. But if you're waving a flag and you're going into their occupied territory, please think about this. There was a stone laid for a reason there. They laid that stone. So you're actually waving that flag, and that's like a red rag to a bull. And guys, they took away your guns long ago, and this has all been pre-planned. It's all been very, very much planned out since the days of Menzies. Menzies laid the path for this. You're under a Roman axis of power, and this is basically the backing of the UN. So if this goes south, you'll see these guys with full body armour and the blue rectangles in the back, and they will not spare the prisoners. They will not, so they'll have no empathy, because most of them are actually, they're shipped in. You might not realise this, but a lot of these people don't even speak your language. So again, you can take this with a pinch of salt, or you don't. It's up to you, but we've actually said this for years now. And Stephen's quite tired, because it seems as if he's paid for court cases and court cases, did the best he can, and to the point where he's a broken man. And there are people there like Culleton perverting his work and taking that in there completely out of context, with no idea of the line of authority, and taking innocent people in there that could cost them their lives. And I mean this sincerely. And again, it's up to you guys if you take this or don't. But it's all on you, because if you don't actually look into what I'm saying, you have to do the hard yakka, as they say. And you need to do that work yourself and actually look at the timeline and see where this all started. Again, you're basically in an Edwards Vatican Jesuit crown realm. Your realm has been compassed, hence why your stone is from the KGB 1611, your remembrance stone. All your acts, imperial acts, come from the KGB 1611. The foundation of Australia is the KGB 1611, and that remembrance stone in the shrine. And that astrological claim that was made 25 years before the shrine was built and the cornerstone was placed. So that is your rightful claim to the Anzac. That is your realm which they've compassed with their crown. And if you look at the coinage going through the years, you'll see that at some point Elizabeth had no crown, because there was no crown to be had. She had a Roman wreath round her head. The coins don't lie. The history's there. So again, you can believe it. You can believe in a fairy story, but history doesn't lie. The only thing that's lied about history is the fact that they've manipulated it through the Geneva as well, sadly. It's the same as the landowners and the elders here are all but lost, unfortunately, as well. And they don't actually realise the claim through the Anzac, through that stone. So they're actually trying to go back to the native owners. But that can't be done, because they had the sacrifice through the same realm. And 3,500 of those perished, the same as the 3,500 Maori are thereabouts. So that realm is theirs as well. King Billy proved this, and that's why he walked some like 200k to the steps of Parliament, to tell you were occupied. So if you don't know about King Billy, the Aborigine elder, I suggest you actually look towards him as well, because a lot of these people are coming out for the bush. Again, they're burning the doors of the old Parliament, which is part of your realm, and it's a disgusting act. And they don't actually comprehend exactly what they're doing. And it's ignorance, it's sad, and unfortunately there's consequences to all of this. And basically going in there with that red ensign, you're basically proving your ignorance to this occupier. Now these are harsh words, but this is up to you guys. It's not up to me to say, I just come out with the facts. If you want to try and debunk them, be my guest, because believe me, I've had years at this. My interest in this subject matter didn't just start with COVID. We've been telling you this for years. I came to Australia 10 years ago and started saying, wait a minute, why is there 2 Commonwealths of Australia? Why has the seals been removed? What's happening? This is meant to be a Commonwealth country. And my journey for Australian de jure history started there. And basically it's went on for there to see that your politicians are lying to you. So you think Culleton's the answer? Okay, right, let's say Culleton or Bossy that's supported a war in Afghanistan for 25 years is the answer. Okay, well, why did they swear an oath to the Edward's crown then? Why is Bossy no answered any of my questions? It was put to him by about 15, 16 different people about the fact that you've got a king's domain. You've got a... He wouldn't answer questions about the flag. He said the flag didn't matter. He wouldn't answer questions about the fact that it was a king's domain. Ignorant probably the fact that the King George V was coronated in Melbourne as well. So, Bossy, you know, you've no idea these people. If you vote for Bossy or you vote for Culleton, it's the same administration. It's the same. All you're doing is voting in a new CEO. What guys do you think? What do you think the remedy is there? There is no remedy. Daniel Andrews signed you up for strong cities. You know, long ago. This is an old story. So rattling your chains at Parliament and going in there with that flag, you're basically desecrating that flag. You're basically the sacrifice of the Anzac, and you're bringing that flag into ill repute. That's all I want to say. And this might be our last chance. And what you're doing with that flag is ruining that last chance. Because that flag means everything to us that was acting peacefully and had a chance to bring back that claim through that stone in Melbourne. And if you really, really knew your stuff, you go to the Parliament in Melbourne where you're supposed to be rather than Canberra. That's another act of ignorance. But I reckon it's an act of deception with Culleton and Bossy and everybody else that's led you there, like the Pied Piper of Hamelin. So it's up to yourself what you think of this wee video. I don't really care anymore. I actually stopped doing lives. I've been banned on Facebook now. This is my 5th time for, 30-day ban. And it's obvious that you can follow these people on these soapboxes that get thousands and thousands of followers. But yet you don't take the time to go back and read your own fucking history. You know, it's shambolic. There's no voice piece there that knows anything in Canberra, in my opinion, right now. They're only the ones that's trying to deceive you. And unless these people are under God Almighty, you have no idea what these people are capable of. They threw me in a cell for 6 hours just for trying to put a wreath down to your Anzac in full Highland regalia, out of lockdown, because I was carrying a KGV 1611 and a flag, basically to put down at your shrine, out of lockdown. I dismissed your court with no seals, under 4 minutes twice using the KGV 1611. I don't really care what you think of me. I've proved my standing to the occupier right in front of him when I addressed the occupier and I told them all to stand in a minute's silence at your shrine, which they did. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that was? Why do you think they obeyed my command to stand in a minute's silence? Greater love hath no man than one that would lay down his life for his brother. Lest we forget, you know what? You all did. You all forgot. Lest we forget means to your peril you forget your realm, under God Almighty. And this is what's happening right now. We've got godless fiction citizenship slaves that don't know who they are. They have no perception of how to have their rule of law standing or anything required. They think they've got a constitution that you'd have to go back to 1900 UK PGA to actually get any law, which means When you ask for human rights, for example, this is how ignorant people is, right? Human rights is what they gave you to take away your Bill of Rights, spiritual and temporal, 1688, which came for the Charter. Why am I saying about Bill of Rights? Because if you realise the Bill of Rights, and I'm not talking about restatutorised ones, I'm talking about Bill of Rights 1688 through William and Mary. So basically that gives you the right, basically push back against every single thing that they've put through this COVID nonsense. Absolutely everything. If you only knew your Bill of Rights 1688 that basically has a non-obstant clause. Why does it have that? I'm glad you asked. Because it can't even be returned. It can't even be overthrown by a monarch. And yet they've hid them for you because as a Protestant, under an Anglican church, as a Protestant, you've got the right of defence. You've got the right of defence. But human rights, you're basically the hue of man. And hue of man, basically under Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, human means monster. So if you want to go and have a wee look at Black's Law Dictionary and you want to be a human, that basically goes back to Adam eating for the fruit and the Garden of Eden and the Tree of Knowledge. And God laying down the animal skin and basically saying you'll die like a beast. So basically this, if you want to be a person or an entity or a human, what you're accepting there is, you're a citizen, a ward of state, you're the birth certificate, you're the Cess Decay Trust Act 1666, where that was your bond of enslavement. And this goes way back, I could go right back to the 1300s in the Decree of Unum Sanctum, where the Vatican basically says all souls belong to us. You're in the same enemy, the same Roman axis of power, and it's the same enemy at the door now. So, again, you want to be at Canberra, you're in a dangerous situation. Absolutely dangerous situation. And my videos are getting pulled down left, right and centre. I don't really care. I'm actually just putting my voice out there because I feel that a lot of people, their heart's in the right place, but unfortunately, this is going to end badly. See you guys.